Good evening, one and all. Here, CA Sanjay Nikam, Regional Council member from WRC. Extend my gratitude to all of you and welcome you at today's webinar organized by Peer Review Board on the topic of compliance with ethical standards. To deliberate his expertise and knowledge, today we have with us CA Vimal Chopra ji. Also, I'll take this opportunity to thank uh, Chairman of Peer Review Board, Vishnu Agarwal ji, and also the Deputy Vice Chairman of Peer Review Board, Dayan Nivas Sharma ji, for organizing such a wonderful activity. Before starting the session, I'll introduce you today's learned faculty, CA Vimal Chopra ji. Vimalji is a practicing chartered accountant since 1989 and founder partner of CA firm Chopra Vimal and Company. He has held various posts up to vice chairman in Jaipur branch of CIRC of ICI and had held post up to the chairman of CIRC of ICI in 2002. He was election officer for Jaipur branch for 4 times, delivered hundreds of lectures at pan India basis. He has been special invitee on Committee on Accounting Standards for local bodies, now CA, SLB, now CP and GF, and a co-opted member of AASB. He is presently member in few study groups who are preparing various draft pronouncement for ICAI. Ministry of External Affairs sent him to Afghanistan as a leader of the Indian delegation of Jaipur Foot just after Operation Sindoor. He is honorary treasurer of BMBSS, world's largest NGO providing prosthetic limbs known as Jaipur Foot. He is also national treasurer of Ratna Sangh, a national body of one select of Jain monks. So, with this brief introduction, I'll present you Vimal Chopra ji, very learned and experienced personality in our ICAI. He is going to deliberate his expertise on today's topic, that is compliance with ethical standards. So, with a big round of applause, we'll welcome Vimal Chopra ji. Vimal ji, take the charge of the session. Please unmute yourself, sir.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. So, are we having the privilege of the chairman of the review board, and so my special gratitude to the peer review board through its chairman and vice chairman, Chairman Shri Vishnu Agarwal ji, and vice chairman Shri Dayanivas ji, and to you also, Sanjay ji, for introducing me. And rather, it is a good opportunity for me, all chartered accountant, to learn anything through these kind of programs in this webinar. So, if if as per itinerary, if the chairman of the peer review board is going to address us, so I feel very thankful. And with this, thank you. Over to you for referring to Chairman PR. Unmute, please unmute. Sanjay ji, please unmute.
As and when they join us, they are supposed to join.
Then fantastic.
And
Then
once they
fantastic.
join, with your permission, we'll allow them to share their views also.
It is. See, they are the policy makers. So, now we start with the presentation directly with this. And so, so am I visible to all of you? Yes, please. So the topic for today is compliances with ethical standards. So this is a program by the peer review board. So my scope of coverage will be especially with reference to the peer reviewers. Of course, there has been substantial changes in Code of Ethics with effect from 1st of April 2026. So it will be a privilege for all of us also that we will be using this opportunity to go through with the what are the new developments, or what are the new additions, what are the new relaxations, or what are the new additional opportunities recognized by the council for the members in practice. So with this brief introduction of what we are going to cover, we proceed. See, the framework of today's discussion is the uh, Chartered Accountants Act, as you all are aware, and then the rules therein, particularly to the rules of 2007 relating to the procedure for investigation of professional and other professional misconduct and conduct of cases, then CA regulations and code of ethics. So our coverage is within this legal framework. And the source material which we have considered for the preparation of today's deliberation is, we have referred to the portal of the Ethical Standard Board, the Code of Ethics, all 3 volumes, which is 13th revised edition 2026. And then there's a booklet published by the Ethical Standard Board containing important decisions. Then another publication, small publications of 24-25 tenure, which is named as CA Ethics Plus. Then latest publication, that is FAQ on Ethical Issues 2025, which is revised edition 2025. And then some select orders of NAFRA, so as to understand what is contemporary developments in the profession. So these are the source material which we have considered for you. Now, as a peer reviewer, you have a lot of scope. So one of that scope covers the compliances of ethical standards. So now the line where from it starts is, the code requires chartered accountants to comply with the fundamental principles of ethics. You have technical knowledge from standards on auditing, technical publication, guidance notes, the legal provisions, the Companies Act provisions, or various acts provisions. So that all is technical side of it. What about the moral side of it? It just reminds me of one very famous question which changed my life per se. Somebody asked me that there are 5 tenets, 5 basic principles of being a Jain Sant: ahimsa, satya, acharya, brahmacharya, parigraha. So he said, what violation of what basic tenet, what basic rule, what Mahavrat punishes a sant that much that he can never be considered to be anointed as acharya. ये 5 महाव्रत में से कौन सा ऐसा महाव्रत है जो अगर टूट जाए तो उसको जिंदगी में कभी आचार्य बनाने के बारे में सोचा ही नहीं जा सकता? Remember our national motto, Satyamev Jayate. Now, integrating all these, I think the question was raised to me some 25 years before. So I replied, ahimsa, somebody, a son, suppose commits a violence, he may not be, because ahimsa paramo dharma. Or brahmacharya, suppose any sant or whatever indulges into immorality, then the veteran leader of the profession, who was also a Jain, said, no, Vimal, you have, out of 5, you have already tried 2. So now let me give you the answer. He said, Satya. The opposite of Satya is Asatya. If someone speaks untrue, so I said, what is the great point into it? We often speak untrue whenever we go to income tax or those sales tax or at that point of time, etc. He said, no. Per habit, do you practice truth or untruth? I said truth. See, in the interest of the client, whatever books he has given to you, whatever details he has provided to you, you represent him. And wherever you feel there is something immoral, which according to your set principle doesn't suit to you, you don't take up that case. So, per se, every chartered accountant, per se, practices truth only. So, what if a sant says, मैंने अहिंसा भी नहीं करी, मेरा ब्रह्मचर्य भी सुरक्षित है, अपरिग्रह भी पालन करता हूं, सब बस उसमें एक खराबी है कि मैं झूठ बोलता हूं. Now, this should set the tone. This profession without ethical standards, without practice of ethical standards, where it will lead to us. So, as a peer reviewer, never forget that whatever that the standard policies, SOPs, the files which has been produced before us, the UDIN, the other data, whatever that you are going to rely on, first of all, you check whether the person, whether the firm you are reviewing has unfallible value system for professional ethics. So that is very important. Now, with this first line, because it has to set a framework for today's discussion. Now we are proceeding. That what about the professional ethics? You have set the professional ethics. We will come to the slides later, which defines that what are the professional ethics? What are the fundamental five, professional ethics? Once you are clear what your professional ethics are, then you have to apply the conceptual framework to identify, evaluate, and then address those threats. And while doing so, you ought to have an inquiring mind. You can't just presume. It is like Russian philosophy, but verify. Trust. Whatever someone says, trust, but verify. You are not Narad, who's transferring here this information from here to there. You are the auditor. You are the chartered accountant. And we will see that in this code of conduct, the word, wherever earlier it was professional accountant, has been replaced with chartered accountant. So every time we have to remember that we are a chartered accountant before being an auditor. We are the member of this ICAI. And ICAI, what is what we are? Collectively, what is our quality? What is our knowledge? What is our ethics, value system? That is going to make this profession. So have inquiring mind, exercise professional judgment. Don't be too ridiculous. Don't be too stereotype. Have professional judgment. Listen, apply your common sense, professional knowledge, or use third-party tests wherever you find it is reasonable or it is proper in that case. Then you have to consider the existence of conditions. What are the conditions? Like in COVID, there were some conditions, policies. Some policies for a larger organization, smaller organization, larger town, small town, big firm, small firm. You have to have different policies. So give weight to that. And so will be if the policies decide procedures. Without policy, you can't decide procedures. So, what are the policy and process which is established or which is advocated or which is suggested either by your professional body or regulator or your client, the employing organization? These all put together, impact the threats because you are expert. So you have to identify, evaluate, and address the threats. Just see the PU which you are peer reviewing. Is that concept clear to the partners or to the or to the members of the PU? Then, of course, the threats have been identified. Then you see what safeguards have been applied, what actions have been taken so as to bring down those threats to an acceptable level. If they have come to acceptable, then only the PU must have accepted the assignment. Else they must have denied. Then, be independent. Be independent when you perform audit or review or other assurance engagements. Many times whenever I, go to the programs, and this is my questions to all of you who are, attending this webinar. Now, can I ask you a question? How many years there have been an continuous increase in your audit fees? Or when your audit fees was last increased, then every year there is an increase in audit fees in, even in proportion to the inflation. Then I can say that this is my presumption that we are independent. Why is when everything is has an impact of the inflation? The type of contemporary environment where we are in living every day. There's a talk about Iran, or there's a talk about shortage. There's talk about everything. So everything is costing you. Even sometime, in a very joking mood, I ask, आपके घर में बाई की सैलरी हर साल बढ़ती है या नहीं बढ़ती है? वो कुछ धमकी देती है या नहीं देती है? So जब उसकी सैलरी बढ़ती है तो हमारा ऑडिट फीस क्या? So I mean that's a good indication. If your PU has a track record that every year there's an increase in audit fees of the clients, that means your PU is something which you can easily learn and see that how they are justifying their work, how they are calculating their cost, how they are convincing their clients, or what, etc. So that's a good indication as well. So every year increase in audit fees. Audit documentation. Recently, I heard in our one study group that there was an inspection in a very big firm of India, inspection by NAFRA, wherein a lot of physical documents were produced before that. NAFRA took note of it because it was inspection. I think serious was intended, but then it was suggested that in contemporary environment, it is not just sufficient that to have physical, physical set of papers, documents, etc. The firm should develop a robust system wherein the soft copies are received, stored, and arranged in such a manner that retrieval, whenever necessary, becomes foolproof. So documentation, ultimately, whatever that you have done, trust but verify. So someone who will come to you for verification, how will you judge it? It's only because of that. Then inquiry protocols. If those things, there has to be policy in the PU as to how, when the fraud is intimated to them, how they will attend to that. maybe that in most of the cases you would find that no PU is reporting against the fraud unless they have some government audits or some typical audits. So generally fraud, there is no policy available to the, but fraud, mind it is such an important case like some heart attack. Heart attack is a case that heart attack or blood clotting or something that requires immediate attention. So whenever there is a fraud reporting, your knowledge of the law and the procedure has to be perfect, robust, have to be updated. And whenever you are issuing modified opinion, then your documentation has to be robust. So as a peer reviewer, your concept has to be clear. When your PU has issued modified opinion, then you as a reviewer has to be very clear as to what are the professional requirements before you decide of issuing modified opinion or give adverse comment on CARO. Now, two-way communication protocols nowadays, that is also very important. We will talk in detail about 7th January 2026 circular issued by NAFRA. It stresses on effective communication. So there's a separate slide which will be coming and sharing with you. And then general and specific controls, which talks about planning, execution. The plan is very good. Execution, you have to check up. Then monitoring is more important than just execution itself, because execution is spending the energy, spending the resources. But where those resources are going, what you are receiving in the return, that monitoring is very important. The observation has to travel from observation level to the audit committee, to the notes to accounts, to the accounting policy, or to the modification. And there's a whole lot of decision. You have to evaluate whether it is material, whether it is pervasive, or all kind of things. So observation starts from the scratch. So this is the framework of our today's discussion that is going to be. Now, the revised code of ethics. Now, I will take these code of ethics just as a curtain raiser, and wherever important, I will give extra some stress to the particular issue. Now, the revised code of ethics. This is the 13th revised. This is 13th edition of code of ethics, and in a separate slide I have compared 2009 code of conduct, 2019, that is what 2020 code of conduct, and this 2026 code of conduct. So now it is divided into 3 volumes, volume 1, 2, 3, and it is applicable with effect from 1st of April 20, except that where an opportunity has been given, the area of MCS has been expanded, that is expanded with effect from 11th of December 2025 to your benefit. So we will cover it later. So now brief introduction of volume 1, 2, 3. Volume 1 is the, is the, I would say, is an ocean for you. It has everything that is very important for you. That is, it has reference of the Act, regulation, council guidelines. So it is a foundational volume. You should refer to that. I have summarized the contents of that volume first in subsequent schedule for your ready references. But because code of conduct, a structure has to be understood by each one of us. So code of conduct, that is dealing with ethical standard. There are 3 volumes. So volume number 1 is very important. Like SQC is very important. Like audit documentation is very important. We can't proceed further without these 2. Similarly, volume 1st is foundational documentation. Then volume 2, it is conversant with the international guidelines. So mostly it is applicable to listed companies and those other things. And then volume 3rd, there whatever that is mentioned in part 5 of the volume 2nd, it contains the detailed standards of ESG, that is environment and social governance reporting, BRSR, which is business responsibility and sustainability reporting. social impact assessment, evaluations, independence standards, etc. So that is there in the code of ethics. The code of ethics, because it is applicable from 1st of April 2026, so the review period which has happened up to 31st of March 2026, old code of conduct rules will apply. Now, the audit which is beginning for the period beginning from 1st April 2026, these revised code will apply. So mostly now we all that we are going for peer review will cover period up to 31st March 2026. So this revised code of ethics will not apply, but it will be very useful because through this we can just renew our knowledge about 2019 or the existing provisions of the code of conduct. Now, present what is new in some other way, then because Kali Yuga Sangatane Shakti, government is very keen of ensuring that Indian version of top 50 CA firms comes in shape. Though of course, I find that this webinar is a national webinar, and I personally on many occasions, because in Jaipur Foot, because Mr. D.R. Mehta was ex-chairman of SEBI, we keep on meeting a lot of who and who of India. So we had many occasions, I think the more than 2 occasions, where we have conveyed to the ministers in the government that why don't you just reduce the taxation rate in partnership firm to 10%? And the chartered accountants will love, syndicating themselves. There will be bigger firms. The institute, because that thing was not happening, the institute has come out with new concept of this networking, and then 1 plus n number of firms. So that is a step in that direction, which is easing the networking. So time permit, we will also discuss that particular issue, but then this volume 2 is regarding the convergence, and which is mostly because of the new addition of the subjects relating to AI, subjects relating to BRSR, etc. So the second volume is for that. Then expanded MCS risk management consultancy that I already. So roughly advertisement, the some ethical standards, and the expanded list of MCS. From this perspective, also you can consider the new code of conduct. It is not exhaustive. Then solicitation for promotion advertisement. I'll take just a couple of examples. Just now, push and pull. The earlier, we were not allowing that this push. Now you can send mails. You can use that technology. Now, the photos on the visiting cards not allowed, but photos on the websites allowed. Write-ups earlier were not allowed. Now write-ups are allowed. Now, what is the meaning of write-up? Write-up means writing of particulars as per guidelines, setting out the services rendered. Of course, you can't give name of the clients unless they permit you. So the intention should not be, intention should be to express about yourself, but in a factual manner, not in a advertisement related matter or in any other things. So in volume first, there is a chapter 3 which deals with advertisement guidelines 2008. There are some relaxations have been made into that, and the revised code has updated those relaxations. So this is part first of the first schedule that was regarding completion. Now coming to the main subject, first line of today's discussion that we have started. I call it IOPCP. For easy remembrance, I call it IOPCP. Now what is IOPCP? I stands for integrity. Now what is integrity? So earlier, when we were celebrating 60th year of the CA Institute, there were 3 words which were coined: integrity, excellence, and the updated knowledge. So I'll come to those issues also, time permit, later. So integrity first. The trust. No, what is integrity is if someone is straightforward. Disraeli has once said, straightforward is the wisest. स्पष्टवादिता सर्वोच्च बुद्धिमता है. Someone who speaks straightforward means it's not that you have to speak truth. There are occasions you can't speak truth. So understand one basic difference. There's a difference between speaking untrue and speaking truth. There's a difference. What it says, don't make false statements. Don't be untrue. Don't be untruthful. Don't be a liar. So there is a denial. It don't say that always speak truth. Even as I said in the beginning, Satyamev Jayate, it says that truth which triumphs. सत्य की हमेशा जीत होती है. इंडिया पाकिस्तान वॉर किसने रुकाया, इससे किसी को मतलब नहीं होना चाहिए. Because truth is truth. Truth is not what X says or Y says. Truth is truth. Having said that, as a peer reviewer, you have to consider this very important, because whenever we are checking the documents, we are interacting with the persons, make a judgment to what extent you can rely. More you go on the top of any pyramid, you will find people are very simple, straightforward, honest, simple. Go down to the pyramid, you will find a lot of Mumbai, Mumbai film industry related, a lot of, what I just want to say is that why the Mumbai is the capital of the economic capital of the country, because of the straightforwardness and honest approach in business dealings. But that is at the top. So the chartered accountants who are the best brains of the country, you will find why they are just concentrating in few cities, because they are getting those quality of assignments where the straightforwardness and honest is the crux. Then objectivity. You can't be subjective. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, objective. Don't allow any bias, conflict of interest, undue influence of others to override the professional, So objective. Why are you checking? Why do you want third-party confirmation? Why are you escalating to the level of TCWG? Or why you feel that, there is a doubt, or there's a need to increase the sample size. There's a need to involve the expert opinion. So you have to be very objective, not to display. आपके पाँव में लगी है तो पट्टा बंधाइए, आपके पाँव में नहीं लगी है, पट्टा बंधा के आप कहीं भी घूमेंगे तो ठीक है, एक इलेक्शन जीत जाएंगे, 2 इलेक्शन जीत जाएंगे, बट अल्टीमेटली ट्रूथ इज ट्रूथ. So our profession is Rishi. The Prime Minister has called it Rishi. Rishi has to be a straightforward, honest, objective. Then professional competence and due care. I have seen when I had started articleship, there were manual, books of account, manual trial balances, posting, and all those kind of things. Professional competence. To the level now we have come is the AI, cloud, ChatGPT is once upon a time case. So there are latest absolute versions. And even those versions where your data is guaranteed to be private, you get the best of the but then whatever data that is given as an input under an agreement, it is secured. It is not shared. We will have some more detail onto this topic. So professional competence and due care that has to be taken, because nowadays with this PSI, price sensitive information type of the the data becomes somebody else's data within minutes, within seconds, with this 5G and other data speed. If your security systems are not that adequate, then that is a concern. One has to consider it. Then confidentiality. You are dealing with the HDFC Bank, 1K MP, and then you see the results. It was a resignation case, and you see the impact. And now the final report has also come that the disclosures or the threats were not that big so as to cause. But then confidentiality, the timing of it should not be agenda based. If it is a factual, then factual. It cannot be a yellow journalism. So confidentiality. And even because it is dealing with the financial matters which is very close to someone hurt. In finance, it is only the goodwill. It is the goodwill which can spoil a company. You can issue your shares at 400 rupees. You can cheat people, but then ultimately, if your script does not perform, the entire empire goes to dust. So confidentiality is something, then professional behavior. No need to have a personal relationship. You can be cordial. You can be cordial. And this you have to judge, my dear. We are professionals. We have our family. We have our staff. We have our professional obligations. Why we should not charge to the clients whom we are serving? Why they should only alone spend on the fact marriages of their children or contribute to the society or to their whatever belief that they are practicing. Have a professional behavior. Be up to date about the relevant laws and regulations. Charge. So these are the fundamental professional ethics. Now, how will you? So integrity, if you are interacting with the PU, objective, see how objective they are, how objective, what were their questions, how have they disposed, what is the professional competence, look at their library, look at their knowledge, look at the training systems which they provide to their articles, and the due care, what is the information storage, what is retrieval system, what is the security, all those things, confidentiality, and professional behavior. Now, having understood these 5 very important terms, now comes the threat for chartered accountants. Because threat is something which you have to identify, you have to evaluate, and then you have to see how you can address. So these are the threats. Self-interest threat may occur as a result of the financial or the interest. Even if your relative is interested, then that can pose also a threat. So self-interest threat, self-review threat, you have earlier taken a decision, like you have earlier decided that this account was bad, or that this income may be considered recognized as income, or you have considered a litigation and have decided about the fate of that litigation, or estimation are something where as a chartered accountant you have taken. Now there's another important word which I referred in earlier. In the earlier course we had the word professional accountant. Now we have the word chartered accountant, CA. So you will feel that self-review threat, because chartered accountant office is though not res judicata, but however it can have a bias. A client can have a question to you. Once upon a time, I was, auditing some sandstone company who had their factory in the Bhiwadi area. They were purchasing sand. Sand is practically having no value, but because they were using the sand to make bricks, and some cost was incurred to bring the sand to their present location and condition. So the sand was to be valued. It had to be treated as an inventory. So the decision was right at that point of time. But if suppose that company had shut down, then you have you have taken a decision earlier in the past that sand is inventory. But now you same person may decide that it no more serves the to be considered as a inventory as an inventory. So self-review threat, there could be many such cases. Advocacy threats may occur when a CA promotes a position or opinion on the point that subsequent, you know, again, if you have advocated some decision, you have given your view, your point, might not have considered, but in you have given an opinion, you have advocated something. So either be ready to accept the truth. Then familiarity, truth, familiarity due to relationship, due to long standing friendship, or due to whatever other reasons. So then intimidation threats, if you feel that someone is very powerful, maybe due to boast or due to muscle power. There was a time I learned, and many judges refused to hear the cases of Atik in UP. There are cases, when there are type of persons whom you feel that intimidation threat is inevitable. Take your judgment, whether it's real or it is perceived or what, etc. That judgment is. Now, general application safeguards. We have talked about basics. We have talked about threats. Now we are taking on how those threats can be safeguarded. Now, safeguards are provided by the profession because it awares you, it provides you the literature, it provides you constant education, through benchmarking various, chartered accountant members, InterSay, we have many programs where someone share their experiences and then we get enriched with their knowledge and how have they tell that particular issue, etc. Then there are CP programs. So those are all inbuilt. That the way you are equipping your articles, your junior team, etc. Likewise, similarly, in the similar manner, you also are safeguarding, the professional members through the platforms of the professional body. Then legally also that when the standards have been when have the legal power, like India's now they have the legal power. Companies Act mandates them. So these all are they are the safeguards. Now it's not just that being member of Chartered Accountant Institute, the standards are mandatory. For force of the law also they are mandatory on. So you have legislation, rules, regulations that is there to protect you. Now, recently, 7th January, NAFRA has also issued a circular which is envisaging independent directors and statutory auditors to have more interaction between them from time to time, at least twice a year. So that is also the legal, way to safeguard independent directors, one who are not interested in the profitability or in the internal affairs of the company. There is a watchdogs on the management side. On auditors, we all are aware that what responsibility has been cast from on us since 1949 or even before that. Then there's a work environment. Apart from that professional legal, there's a work environment. There are companies, there are partnership firms, individuals, etc. But there's a work environment that also speaks a lot about these safeguards. So the files you are selecting, like you are checking on any NGO, NGO file, you are checking any tender allotted task, or you are checking some branches, you're checking some bank or listed company or big corporation. So all those things, you have different work environment. And similarly, for engagement specific, there can be special safeguards. Type of engagement will decide type of safeguards to be applied there. Then at client level also, client systems and procedures centric safeguards. Clients have specially customized laptops where the no other devices can be attached or configured. So that provides you additional security. Then constant antivirus, constant software updation, constant like your mobiles also. There's operating system which continuously keep your mobile free from all kind of serious serious malfunctioning and other things. Then the institute has also, with effect from 1st of January 2017, has introduced KYC guidelines. So these all are safeguards. Deal with good people. That's what KYC says. Have reference to the professional work environment and client level. See. Now, this no class. Now, there is a change in the no. Earlier there was a limit of 250 crore. Now, there is a change which says that the no class is now applicable on every listed company and their material subsidiaries. So, no class, which is no compliances with law and regulation. Somebody asked me that why this no class is on chartered accountants when a Supreme Court judge can ignore that one particular case was applicable. Even I don't remember the name, but then there was a case where the Supreme Court on record said that it is our mistake that we should have freed someone 35 years ago because of mistake in our system. 35 years he has spent in the jail, and this is not with no lapse on the part of the sufferer. When a Supreme Court, when no specific law is brought to the knowledge of the Supreme Court, it can commit a mistake. As a no clerk, how is a chartered accountant? You can guarantee that the accounts which you are auditing don't have the cases which falls into no clerk. So the whole idea is that because if there is any violation, it will have some penalty. If it will have some penalty, then it has to be reported. If it has to be reported, then it will have a financial entry. And because you are auditing the financial entries, so if any payment that is in the nature of for punishment for the violation of any provision, then those are the cases that you should consider for reporting in no class. If there is a mistake or the deliberate attempt in the books of account of the client by not debiting such penal charges paid by the firm in the books of the entity which you are auditing under a proper head, then that is a serious internal control related mistake. Again, come to the level of truth. They have bad intention. At least in policy, the company has to be very profound in accepting that whenever there is a violation of the law and we have paid price for that, it will be debited to a separate account, irrespective of that the money is recurring from the concerned employee or concerned contractor or concerned any person. So there has to be a gross debit of the penalty related expenses. That has to be the system. And you see it in the audit program of your PU, that documentation part or the audit program, whatever they have audited. No clause also, as I said, chapter 5 has been introduced in volume 2nd, and volume 3rd is entirely on the listing those standards. So we'll come to that later. Then discuss with management, because as I discussed, 7th of January 2026 NAFRA circular, which says NAFRA says that there was not effective, because as per SA 260, you are required to see that the TCWG which has been reported to US TCWG, whether de facto they are using the power as TCWG, whether we rely on them, or what activities are they conducting. So NAFRA said that there was inadequate exercise on the part of the auditors to determine who were TCWG. So nowadays, every company, because it is effective, and 1st of April 2026, NAFRA has said that there has to be minimum at least two meetings. That is, one before the start of the audit, and second before finalization, signing off of the financial statement for that year. So minimum two. So the all listed companies, they are in the process of finalizing the policy for this, this effective communication matter. So that is with the discussion of the management. There's a detailed, discussion which sometimes, the peer review board or the other committees can have on this. But then, just for the peer review purposes, I am referring your attention to the circular of 7th January 2026 of NAFRA, which is effective from 1st of April. So it is again the peer review audit which is happening up to the period of 31 2026. It will not be obligatory, but it sets in the good procedures. So you just check to the application and the adherence of the good principles that have been. So in Crux, I have already explained that it promotes the two-way communication, written communication, effective communication, traceable communication between the two. That is independent directors, broadly TCWG, because TCWG will include the independent directors. And normally, of course, the entire board is TCWG, no doubt about it. But then board can have a subgroup, which is generally the chairman of the audit committee, which is made as the person who is responsible for ensuring that there is a smooth, coordination between the audit and the, objectives which the company law has set, which the NAFRA has set, or what is expected from the audit. So from the management side, it is the TCWG which makes it happen smoothly. And for the help of the TCWG, the executives of the company, unless they are the directors on board, if they are director on board, then they can be part of the TCWG. Else, they can be at the best invitee, just to smoothen the process, to ensure better coordination, or to have the management input on very important matters which the auditors or audit team and the finance team has encountered before coming to the TCWG platform. So you have a very good scenario where there's an auditor side, then there's a company side, and there's an independent audit committee chairman or the team of TCWG which can decide in the interest of the audit and for the achievement of the ethical standards or the compliances of the law, etc. Then, of course, then there's a level where the matter can be escalated to the level of TCWG. Then, if there's a need, then there has to be disclosures, documentation. As I shared with you, it's not just physical. The quality of documentation doesn't get improved by keeping it physically. Nowadays, there are thousands of data which we download, and it is as sacrosanct as the physical document is. And sometimes, even the retrieved data is more important. Now you can download your driving license, your card, PAN card, your ITR, assessment orders, your whatnot. So you have to have that system where the data is stored and it is retrievable with proper security protocol, and with the invent of two key system, public key and private key. It is very safe and secured method. So document, and it also serves the purpose of SA or audit document SA 230 audit documentation. This is a small chart comparison framework that what is 2019 and then ISB alignment, independence, and NES non-assurance services. Now there was limited coverage. Now in case of public interest entities, the chartered accountants have been prohibited for providing certain set of non-assurance category of services that is there in that volume third. And sustainability ESG, it is now a separate chapter, which is chapter number 5 has been introduced in volume second of the Code of Ethics, and volume third is dedicated specifically on it contains the detailed ESG standards, and the new area in the profession has been recognized in line, in tandem, in convergence with the IESBA 2024 edition. Now, independent standards, that is there in the volume second, which is independent standard. It has got two parts, 4A and 4B. 4A is for audit and review engagements, and 4B is for assurance, not for related assurances engagements. The aspects cover is that the fees, compensation, actual or threatened. See, this I have introduced for the purpose of as a curtain raiser, I would say, because in peer review board you will have to as a peer you will have to go through with it. But with the recent changes in ethical standards, somebody has to spend some time so as to understand what is there in the new code of ethics. So I'm not trying to take on the task of the ethical standard board, which they are beautifully doing by organizing various programs. Definitely those programs are much more elaborate in the nature and will include a lot of other material also. My presentation to you is that have a basic knowledge at least to begin with, that as a peer reviewer, when you are going there, then these are the aspects. Because most of the aspects are almost same. It's only that some cases have been denied and some cases have now been permitted. So I'm covering that as well. So by the end of this, this presentation, this webinar, you all will, I think, will be very much aware about the new code of ethics. So aspects covered in this 4A and part 4A and 4B is fees, compensation and evaluation policies, gifts and hospitalities, actuals or threatened litigations, financial interest, loans and guarantees, business relationships, family and personal relationship, recent services with audit clients, serving as director, officer, other assurance clients. Like it says, it's out, if you were a director, then to what period you cannot accept the assignment, you were the earlier auditor, to what is the cooling off period, etc. Those all aspects are covered because they are for your safeguard. They are to ensure that you remain independent. So employment with audit client and other assurance client, long association with audit client. We have a system of 5-year appointment, and next 5 years can be allowed, but partner has to be different. Beyond 10 years, no appointment can continue. So these all are long association, these all are avoidance, ensuring independence. Reports that include a restriction on use or distribution. Elaborate guidance note, guidance on non-assurance NAS, non-assurance services to audit clients and other assurance clients. RE is review engagements. Now, this professional conduct has been defined to be, it shall be deemed to include any act or omission, and misconduct any other circumstances. So, what is consideration for doing something or abstain from doing something? Consideration not for what doing something, but abstaining from doing something. Similarly, professional misconduct is any act you were required to act, or you were required to act but you did not act. So that omission can result into professional misconduct. That's a basic. So now there's a just brief introduction of what is there in the volume first. Volume first is divided into 5 chapters. First chapter is it is the mother subject. It explains the authority attached to the document issued by the institute. Some publications you have with red color, some you have with green color, some you have as a standard, some you have as a guidance note, some you have as a technical guide, some you have as an implementation guide, some is a studies, and there's an audit directorate or audit. There's a AQMM. So there are various terms which will be coming. So there's a very good at one place description of authority attached to the various documents issued by your institute. Then the second chapter is Chartered Accountant Act 1949. I have mentioned the sections which are there. Then you have two schedules, first schedule and second schedule. That is we have been studying, because without going through, you can't pass chartered accountancy. So what, depending on which batch we are from, we must have studied the code of conduct. But that code of conduct, all code of conduct now stands superseded with code of conduct of 2026, effective from 1st of April 2026, except some relaxations which were made effective from an earlier date, that is 11 December 2025. So first schedule, it is divided into 4 parts. First part is in relation to practicing chartered accountant, second service, third members, and fourth is other misconducts of the members in general. Then in second schedule is more serious. First schedule, the cases are up to the level of BOD, Board of Discipline. Second schedule, cases are serious, they goes up to the level of DC, Disciplinary Directorate, Disciplinary Committee. Then chapter 3 is a very good chapter. They have accumulated council guidelines for advertisement 2008, which I've referred in earlier slides. Then guidelines on ethical issues 2026. This is also a very good statement. But please go through with the first paragraph, which sets out the scope, the power, the authority which it has, embedded into it. So go through with that first paragraph and then go through with the entire guidelines of 2026. It will make many of your concepts very clear as a peer reviewer. Then self-regulatory measures recommended by the council. Then there are appendices to this code of ethics, volume first, very important. Like, from A to L, there are these guidelines. It runs from list of engagement and quality control standards issued by ICI. Then what is the disciplinary mechanism if you don't do? Then the list of accounting standards. So standards SA and AS. Then disciplinary mechanism, and then qualification of institution, organization, etc. Then unjustified removal of auditor. Then various permissions that are required. The CA limit on number of tax audit guidelines. Guidelines for tax for corporate form of practice. Then guidelines regarding printing of letters and visiting card. Mind, there is no change in publication in publishing your photo on visiting card. I have collected some various small question answers also, but they have allowed the photo to be pasted on your website, network marketing, passport size photo, not any event photo or other photos, just for identification purposes. Then guidelines on UDIN, because UDIN is the database which is very basic for conducting peer review. UDIN only, because you can't issue a certificate without UDIN, and because it applies on audit and assurance services. Then guidelines on tenders, guidelines on CA India logo. You can use CA India logo, but you cannot use your own logo. Maybe it is the abbreviation of your name. Your name is ABC. Then you can't use ABC, saying that it is my abbreviation of my, because that acts as a logo. You can use CA India logo, and that too in its original form, not in tilted or other background, other color, etc. There are guidelines for that. Now, first schedule for reference purposes, I have included into this slide, so that it acts as a ready reference to you. But I don't have any intention to go into the individual details. But again, to repeat that that there are 12 clauses, Board of directors up to first schedule is within the jurisdiction of board of BOD. And second schedule, the cases are 10 but serious in the nature, goes up to the level of DC. Then there's a volume second, new volume which is added. It is divided into 5 parts. Fourth part, independence standard, I've already introduced because that is a new addition. This part first is complying with the code, fundamental principles, conceptual framework that is applicable, and it is more or less ISBA 2024 convergence. Part 5 is very important because it has opened new era, new opportunities for the chartered accountants. And part 5, whatever standards that have been mentioned here, falling in the series of 5100 to 5350 and 5400 to 5600. These are listed in the volume 3rd of Code of Conduct. And this is how it is mentioned, what is part first, parts 2, part 3, part 4. It is there. I've taken it from the Code of Conduct publications. So just for, easy purposes or immediate reference, I've used that in this slide. Now, volume 3rd, ESG, that is environmental, social, and governance related disclosures for listed entities. Because environmental, that how much pollution it is, or there are various details. So, as director's report has to contain various details relating to this ESG reporting, it has now also been brought under the scan of mandate of chartered accountants that who are permitted, who can conduct the auditing, and what standards will apply to them, how they have to check all those things. And it is for the first time by way of this chapter 5 in volume 2nd and detailed provisions in detailed standards in volume 3rd, it has been introduced. Again, my dear peer viewers, because it is effective from 1st of April 2026. But for because it has been allowed from 11th of December 2025. So the companies which want their this category of information to be got audited by chartered accountant, eligible chartered accountant, then that is that area which might perhaps fall in the PU in the select PU cases which are subject to. Then there is a BR. A statutory auditor is not permitted to perform BR SR for its audit client because he has to comment on the historical happenings which is there. Auditing is nothing but post-mortem that way. Popularly it was told that it is post-mortem. So BRSR is that jinn, is that booth which will have an impact on the future as well. So there will be a conflict of opinion, conflict of interest of what you have suggested in BRSR and what you are supposed to certify as a true and fair, and you have to follow certain specified sets of procedures, etc. Then CSR impact, social impact, independence standard, they all are now important. Entities have become that giant. Even I was just referring that the government of India wanted the oil companies to have a crude oil reserve of 30 days. They were having crude oil reserve of 15 days till now. If you are asking them to maintain a reserve of 30 days, it will be investment of billions of dollars. Now, it will have an impact on every aspect of reporting. So, you have to be, aware of what is happening surrounding to your area of practice or the profession which you are into. Then there are, so that was a brief introduction of volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. Volume 1 is the mother volume. You have to have, like, similarly, like SQC is the mother document, some. Then, yes, there was another important point which I wanted to share with you is this relative size. It says that fees as a percentage to total revenue, TR is total revenue, And TSAC is taxation service to audit clients. NAS, as I said, non assurance services. So, with effect from 1st of October 2022, the ICI has issued, these detailed requirements, which says that if a chartered accountant firm is getting more than 20% of its total revenue from one particular client, then the requirement of EQCR becomes effective. So first 2 year it is allowed. It can have, like, first year it can have more than 20%, because sometimes the payment may come late, or because of change in accounting policy, etc. But for 2 years put together, if the fees is more than 40%, then second year, then in the second year, before issuing your report, you have to disclose this fact to the audit committee presentation before signing off the balance sheet, because it is a self-interest threat. The client is that important, that big to you, that it has a that is substantially interested into your practice. The 20% is substantial interest criteria by and large at most of the places. So if you are that dependent on that particular client, so some other chartered accountant should carry out EQCR, engagement quality control review, to see that how you have planned the audit, how you have performed the audit, how you have monitored the audit, what are the observations, what are the communication, what are traceable things, what are the data, what is the system, how you have evaluated under control, what is your system. Like, there are a lot of other things, and many such questions can be taken from the AQMM. AQMM contains, ideal questions, many good questions you will find in the AQMM. It's not that that only is relevant, but that encompasses the quality which is ultimately delivered by the chartered accountant firm. So fees and those things. Then write-up rules, as I mentioned in earlier already, that in advertisement that write-ups are allowed. So no exaggeration, no disparaging information, and no your individual logo, and no disrepute to the profession, no your individual, no reference to your private achievements or awards. You can just use the positions which you have held. If you are elected members and you held the position, you can mention that, because that is a fact which even otherwise can be checked by someone. But if you say that I have received falana falana from this and this or NGO, now no one knows about the quality of that NGO and what price they have conferred on you, and what was their evaluation criteria, etc. If somebody says your accounts are best presented accounts, it may not have the value. But if CA Institute, according to following some robust system, certifies that this municipality presented financial accounts, or this company presented financial accounts, they are the best account, then that has a degree of fairness attached to that. Then advertisements, I'm just in few sentences, push technology is allowed, network firms allowed, websites, and some relaxations have been made. As I told you, that the government has every intention to make big 50 firms of chartered accountants in India, or Indian big 50, not just big four of the world, but Indian big 50. So write-up content flexibility is extended to them. Communication received back from the internal auditor. Office found logged was sufficient, what it is sufficient, and those things. Then director simpliciter. Director simpliciter is also was also a term that maybe some partner of your PU firm, you find that he was director simpliciter. So you should know some basics about who are the director simpliciter. So director simpliciter means an ordinary or simple director. He can sign financial statements or other statutory documents, but he is not expected to be in touch with day-to-day activities. Like, he cannot sign each everyday payment check. He cannot render CFO type services, or that he has to be a director simpliciter, not a working director. or not, so the involvement in the company, the type of functions which he is performing. He can attend board meeting, he can receive sitting fees, other things. So a director simpliciter can participate in the policy or financial decisions of the company during meetings, but he cannot get involved in the business of the company. So that is basically what director simpliciter is all about. So if any partner of PU firm is director simpliciter, then we have this disciplinary director system. Just check with if your PU, which you are peer reviewing, is struggling with any level. One was just complaint system. Complaint is nothing. Complaint is it like prima facie assessment, which is not an assessment in itself. They have checked. So anybody who puts a complaint against you, complaints is nowadays very easy. So it's just 2,500 rupees plus GST. GST will get input, and 2,500 you can ruin the hours and days and years of chartered accountants. So it is a time when when I said first that the five important principles, will come back to that once again, because that is where I would love to end this presentation. And yes, we will have privilege of hearing to the chairman or vice chair, whatever time they are available, because I'm told that they are attending very important meetings, which is and I understand that those who have contributed or who have pledged their time to the profession, it is very everybody wants to listen to them, but then they also have the limitations, which we also will have limitations whenever we are into audit. So we have limitation, yes, so that may act as a threat, but then we have to attend. So then there's a board of discipline, which is second level. Normally, as I said, first schedule type cases. Then we have disciplinary committee, which is second level, which is, and then there's a chart which is there, which I just as a copied from our thing. There's not my subject matter, but then just to give you a view about what is. Now, I've also, compiled some common issues of disciplinary cases, just for update of the knowledge, that it is the fees is just 2,500. If the fees is, let us say, 2,50,000 rupees, then the complaints would be very less complaints. Then mostly it is due to known issue of the NOCs, no objection certificates. That is, you have not sent it to registered AD. Registered AD with acknowledgement due, because you have to have positive evidence that it was. So the peer review which you are, the PU where you are writing, just see if there is a new assignment which the client has taken. If it has taken, then whether there is a NOC of the previous auditor is on record, and whether it is whether he has checked that the undisputed fees of the preceding chartered accountant has been paid to them. It is necessary part of their working paper. Then conflict of interest, that is the PU, the partner of the PU was was director there, or having shareholding which is beyond the percentage, and there are ethical breaches, interaction with regulators while interacting with RBI, serious fraud investigation organization, CBI, enforcement directorate, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Then within the institute also we have FRRBT, QRB, PRB, with all our quality control mechanism within the institute. Then number of cases, alarming size of number of cases, shift from true and fair view to misrepresentation of facts and figures. This is a very important thing which I would like to take 1 minute to it, that it is not nowadays just true and fair view, but it is also nowadays about disclosure of facts and figures. It is not the results, but disclosure of facts and figures. And there are standards, how the facts and in what manner it has to be disclosed, etc. Hundreds of multiple empanelment forms, attachments, Benami sort of planning using family members for bypass of regulations. It is that loan to direct is not allowed, then it should not be circumvented. it is given to the person A, B, C, D, E, F, and then ultimately come to the director. So we are not, I agree, we are not investigator, we are not bloodhounds, but we have to be vigilant as to, and there are, or there can be, as per your own inquiring set of mind or set of experiences or set of going through with the cases wherever it has happened, you can have a knowledge as to, is there something wrong, or is there a likelihood that there can be something wrong. Like I share you one knowledge. Suppose some group says that it is investing in new projects worth 2 lakh crore. Now that information as an auditor should raise your eyebrow. From where that 2 lakh crore will go? Of course, it will go from the companies who have hefty reserves. So now increase your level of checking, increase, be alert. And as an auditor, you will find ways and means how to check that where the money is going and where finally it is landing. What are the legit ways or what are the illegit ways, etc., etc. So what it due was the declaration or was the intention of the management to spend that much of the money. So if you are auditing somewhere, those kind of things also. So whenever you are particularly big audit firms, if you are peer reviewing, then you have to be very alert that what are the clients which they have audited and what is the 3 years knowledge system into that, and just see that that is good from one other point of view also, because as a peer reviewer, good quality of our reports will make this big 50 top 50 Indian firms more robust. The competition is not going to be welcome. You all know that GCCs are there in India and they are bringing good export revenue to us. This GCC has not just come. Some professors of our prestigious institutions have trained our Indian brains in such a manner that they are solving the problems of the world. And I understand with the Indian chartered accountant brain is no less from any point of view. It's only thing that those 5 basic of the professional ethics has to be considered. It reminds me of one case that once upon a time there was a child of lawyer who got mixed up with the sheeps. So he started behaving like sheep, and after many years, some lawyer has seen him that and he was virtually crying as a sheep. So when he saw the lion, all sheep got scared. That lion cub also got scared. So he just roared. So all wanted to move immediately. Finding that lion, get hold of that lion and said, "Don't be afraid of me." And he carried him to the pond where he see that, look in the water. You and I are the same. And then that day he realized. So this profession, these webinars, the address by the chairman, the entire programs, whatever throughout the year we have, is all is to understand that we as the chartered accountants are independent, are powerhouses, are rishis, or etc. So those all things. So these disciplinary cases should, update you that just go through with them and see that your client PU or the persons under your influence or under your sharing umbrella don't fall into this thing. So poor documentation and record keeping, fraud detection, non-compliance with the standard, MIS representation of facts and certification, involvement in illegal or unethical activities, undermining the reputation of self and profession. So these were the very common issues of disciplinary cases. Just see to it. Emerging trends and likely punishments. Then I've also, that CP requirements is also one of the area nowadays. Failure to get peer review. You cannot accept the appointment unless your firm is eligible to receive, then whistleblower complaints, no CLAR, misusing professional position, and likely position. So it can be reprimand, it can be monetary, it can be suspension of practice, removal from the restrictions and posts, etc. Case to case. Now, what is the quality mechanism in ICI? We have NAFRA, we have FRRB. NAFRA is the Government of India. FRRB, TRB, TQRB is ICI. Then within the ICI, we have these three, as a department. Audit Directorate, which has issued CFO manual, very good publication, very elaborate publication. I would advise the members to go through with that publication. CAQD, wonderful. And nowadays there is a separate listing also. AQM, you have 4 levels. Then tender monitoring, because tender is a sensitive item. So we have a directorate because your response has to be fast. So we have a separate directorate for TMD. Now, I have also gone through a few NAFRA orders just to understand that what kind of observations are made. Just see that whether and to my utter surprise, I also find cases where the auditors were not aware that they were covered under NAFRA and they have to report to the NAFRA. That because they were covered under NAFRA, so go through with that. So then NAFRA, what NAFRA has considered. So I've just taken here. Auditors' vigilance is required even after. So this is another interesting thing. It says that auditors' vigilance is required because appointment is for 5 years. You have issued the report for the current year, but suppose if there are instances which has occurred after issuance of the report and which are such that which is affecting the cases are covered in SA 560 subsequent events, then that casts an expectation on the auditor to deal with it. How to deal with it depends on the professional judgment and as per the what is mentioned in SA 560. So it is not that you have issued the report or you say that because I have already signed and thereafter these things have happened. So therefore, I'm not required to report to it. Your appointment is for 5 years, and the office, the continuity in the office is very much there. So you have to consider, and suppose it is a listed company, you have to consider that event, and then you have to decide how to deal with it. And for your help, the publication's subsequent event is available. The license to audit, the word they have used is license to audit from ICI comes with a prerequisite, a tenth responsibility of acting in public interest. Integrity and professional behavior are the fundamental principles of ethics. Now, see that these are the words which the NAFRA has used in order. So go through with the orders. Don't just go through with your own, Then inadequate audit procedures, planning, the auditors to perform adequate audit procedures, maintain adequate documentation. Apart from accounting, auditing ethical standards corresponding to the regulatory judiciary, these are also to be considered. Because many times, like Tiger Global, Tiger is a very important and landmark decision, substance over form. Our institute from the day first has been saying that substance over form, substance was more important than the form. Tiger Global of late have accepted that yes, substance was more important than the form. So audit documentation to enable understand, but substance is important. That does not dilute the form. The form has to there, but per se, form will not substitute the quality of audit working paper. The content written in the form will decide the adequacy of the form and whether it serves the purpose which it was intended to. You can't just have blank formats. There's a use file containing all blank formats or filled up casually, etc., to be called as working papers. No, they are not working papers. The audit documentation should be able to understand the nature because the documentation is such that equally qualified reviewer can compare it and can reach to a conclusion that yes, all due course obligations were applied. So communications of audit engagements, then NAFRA orders, then there is more about NAFRA orders. Same, so BRSR, as I told you, not allowed to for audit client, but it can be, but you can provide advice to other clients or to non-audit clients. So it is not a restriction on chartered accountant. It is restriction on the statutory auditor in respect of the client of which he is auditing. So understand, it is not restriction on you. It is restriction on the auditor. So then you have to engage in assignment of compilation of engagement of that entity as per SRS. You are not allowed. COP holder cannot be appointed as internal auditor and procurement officer simultaneously of an organization. So these are all just see in the PU whether such cases applies or not. Then as I told you, there were appendices in volume first. Then similarly, the part-time practice, there is also mentioned that when someone will be considered to be in part-time practice, there's a good disclosure into this. And because part-time is not allowed to carry out their test function and train the articles and other things. Fees, as I told you, 20%. You have to have the EQCR conducted by other chartered accountant before release of the audit report. And this fact has to be disclosed in the audit committee of the board that that this self-interest threat has been has been attended in that manner by obtaining EQCR from the other chartered accountant. Then FAQ 2025, it is the latest publication. What I have done is that I have listed some, there are around 258 or some 260 cases, questions that is mentioned in FAQ 2025. And it also incorporates many of the other queries which were covered elsewhere in the other publications. So this one is latest publication. What I have done is that I have classified that to 258 using the AI. You can also do that. Just ask your AI to read the questions and read the answer and list out the yes and no and depend category or third category. So that is what I have done here. And that after doing that also, I have further reduced it to the important cases where the answer was no. Like a member in practice can be permitted to undertake the management of NRI funds. Replied no. Portfolio management services, no. Consultancy company advertising services, no. Member in practice be part of AOP with other members, other professionals, no. So likewise, these are the questions, just for the answer to every question is no. And mostly if you just go through with this thing, and I would suggest you to take use of the AI to save your time. And then whenever something is applicable or wherever you feel that yes, it has to be read in detail, read that particular question in detail. It will help you. Now, whether member in practice can list themselves with online application based on service provider aggregator, like taxi aggregator, like various service provider aggregators. Similarly, can there be a platform where a chartered accountant services are? Earlier we used to have yellow pages. The chartered accountants, some listed entries were allowed in what manner, that the bold or normal, that type of so aggregation not allowed. Chartered accountant practice paid to any share, commission, brokerage fees, etc. not allowed. Permissible to member to mention it as a GSC consultant. The only designation you can use is chartered accountant or the membership, ACA, FCA, or whatever degree, diploma, etc. that institute is allowed, recognized, council recognized to be written. That you can use. Otherwise, you cannot. So ultimately, it is action speaks louder than words. Someone the senior board member, he always quotes that action speaks louder than words. It is not what I'm saying. It is my action which will have an impact, or which will have the long-lasting impact. So these are the questions whether a member in practice can also practice simultaneously as an actuary. No, he can have a degree. He can go. He can become actuary, but he cannot practice. Like I can pass LLB, but I cannot start practicing as an advocate. If I want to do that, then I will have to, I will have to, I will have to leave my profession because profession entails a liability only. Then can give feedback to credit rating agency. Now it has been no. Earlier, they were asking to the statutory auditors. Can become mutual fund distributor? No. Can provide investment advisory to trust? No. Because all these are such that it can have a conflict of interest. Are the provisions of no CLAR applicable to tax audit under the Income Tax Act or any other law? No. It is only applicable with respect to statutory audit. If you are tax auditor, you are limited scope. With limited scope, you can't comment on no CLAR. You will be allowed to check only, the tax audit, the tax audit related talk. So there is a limitation on the work. So therefore, no CLAR responsibility is not on the tax auditor, but on the statutory auditor. Likewise, there are questions, and based on there's a publication of important decisions on ethical standard board, which is of 2022. There are questions which in detail will cover, and many other topics which I have left here and there. I'll try to cover during answering those questions. Now, there was a question that photograph on website I have already explained. Bank card verification, whether it is possible. Yes, as far as verification, it is possible. But you can't be a selling agent. You cannot earn for suggesting the clients to purchase insurance policies or purchase this credit card, that credit card, etc. Your core function is not that. Verification, yes, you can do that, allowed. Whether you can be director and cooperative, yes, you can be director, but director simpliciter. Whether you can have a tin facility, yes. Here also, through use of AI, I have got my AI program to say specifically yes. So whatever that is yes, we can just ignore them, because I think you all might have gone through with it. Can your client introduce you as a CA firm having knowledge partner? No, that is not permitted, because indirectly you are inducing, or it can be part of compensation. It cannot be that you praise for me, I praise for you. As a resident director, as per stipulation 149.3, number of days 182 is the criteria which we decide for being resident or non-resident. If someone is working director, so director, the stay. So for as far as number of days of stay in India beyond 182 days, don't alter director simpliciter expectation. One can be director simpliciter even if he stays in India for, let's say, 30 days, 50 days. Point is that whenever the meeting that have happened, he has attended personally meetings. He's a director simpliciter. His residential status is for some other purposes. It is not a decisive factor for understanding whether he's a director simpliciter or not. Can he be settler of the trust? Yes, why not? Can exercise lien over client documentation? No. Statutory audit with limitation? No. But if you are internal auditor, if you are any other auditor, yes, it is allowed. Because, see, understand the difference. The statutory auditor comes to you because of operation of the government rules and regulations. So government rules and regulations will like to protect the clients, not to the inspection agencies. So what they are trying to say to you is that your mandate of auditing the organization comes from us. Because it comes from us, so therefore there are certain rules and regulations that you have to follow. And it is not an ethical practice that you try to take hold of their books of account, etc., you deprive them, there can be legit difficulties, etc. So now, because the time is running fast, and we have these last, I think, this 10 slides. Then, if permitted, if there are any queries, I'd like to give time for that also. And suppose if we have, so I will just like to cover it in as early as possible. Can you see from printed vision and values? No, not allowed. If a member in practice can take guest lecture, yes. A practice chartered accountant can be office bearer, yes, he can. Like I am also office bearer, but you cannot have remuneration. You cannot, those other things you cannot. Can a practicing chartered accountant start a NGO? Yes, it can. Whether a practicing member can act as mediation in the court? Yes, because it has separate rules for it. Can he write the story for movie, script, etc.? As a passion, it can write, but not as a regular source of income. Like merely writing a script, a story for a movie would not fall within the provisions of Appendix 9, but doing it for the livelihood, yes, it will have an impact. Whether partner of a CA firm doing auditing of insurance company accept survey? No, cannot. Whether a practicing registering authority registering? Yes, it can. DSC, etc. Chartered accountant performing information system audit, or when can hold credit card. See, understand, credit card is not indebtedness. Credit card is a facility given to you. So if your credit card bill is getting paid within the due date, then it is not that you are indebted. It is a facility. So that facility using prevailing the utility or the facility doesn't make you indebted. Whenever due date comes, before that due date, the money is paid. So what? No problem. Then can provide payroll services? Yes, but not the client. If he is audited, then he cannot. A practicing CA can research service, can publish retail services report, etc. Yes, but he cannot publish retail report as it would amount to other business or profession. See, doing it for the purpose of livelihood, then you are changing. But because you have expertise in in one particular field, and therefore you have carried out one research study, it can be allowed. Then a certificate required by banks from with respect to some verification type things. Yes, it is allowed. Share information sought by the client from the auditors to whom must depends case to case. If mandated allowed, then you can give. Otherwise, you cannot. Whether member can associate with firm, otherwise than a partner employee, and with such relationship is partnership charging and remuneration. Yes, it would be limited to sharing his expertise with the firm only with and not with the clients of the firm. So you can provide some services to the other CA firms, because sharing of the exercises, even like proprietorship firms. One proprietorship firm can become quality partner for the other proprietorship firm, and they can charge, and or they can do it vice versa, or mutually, one do for each other. All in good means, not that you are contracting, subcontracting something. It's not that you have received a bank audit allotment and then you are subletting it to someone. That is the different case. Now, whether a member may advertise from its branch located outside India, if you are using it to bypass the provisions, then it's certainly not allowed. But if it is incidental to do it there too, then it is allowed. Because law of the land where the office is situated will prevail. Of course, if there is a contradictory provision, then the provisions of the CA profession, the CA will prevail. But having said that, you have to consider the case-to-case situations. Then statutory auditor listed company can provide management services. Though to provide non-assurance services during the cooling off period, unless otherwise prohibited. After the cooling off period, you can provide NAS non-assurance services. The cooling off is just to avoid the familiarity threat. Then WhatsApp can be used? No, it cannot be used. The WhatsApp means it's WhatsApp also, Telegram also, or by whatever, even if the push is with the push facility also comes with some discipline. The whether commercial transactions, ordinary course of, so the limit has been raised from 1 lakh to 5 lakh. The point is that in an ordinary or in an ordinary level of in ordinary course of business, some transactions have been entered with the client. Like suppose your client or the client is a jeweler, and your wife has gone or you have gone there, purchased a big jewelry item of jewelry you have purchased, and this is ordinary because the rates is prescribed, invoice has been raised, uploaded to site, and in any case you are going to make that payment, so that transaction doesn't make you indebted. So intention of the law is that indebtedness is something different, and ordinary transaction, day-to-day transactions are something different. So don't be confused with those two things. Can CFO register Udyog? Yes, it can. Why it should not? Within 45 you should get payment. Member in practice can empanel NCLT. Yes, it can. All government, because ultimately what is the government? You and me are the government. If we use our expertise in the interest of the profession, then only this profession will, etc. Then last few, whether a member in practice may become member of the council. Yes, it council of arbitration, yes, because it has separate rules. And a member in practice can have his also premises coaching center same place. No, there is every likelihood that it will not have any distinction. Then these are the firm accountant. Whether a practicing CA can get registered as a GST Suvidha Kendra, no, not allowed. Member in practice can do advertisement commodity, not. I'm just trying to pick up, some such questions which I feel can be more relevant for us, and also it is last 15 minutes and I want to use it more constructive. Whether a member in practice can become a managing director or whole-time director in a company registered under Section 8. Yes, but no remuneration, he can be director simpliciter. Whether the disqualification on audit from the point of view of indebtedness or content in council regard to 2008, etc. No, apply only to statutory auditor. See, the indebtedness clause do not apply to internal auditor, to concurrent auditor, or to other category of the auditors. It applies only to statutory. I don't find any reason to it, but then this is, we have maybe that sometime when we sit and we discuss in detail, we will more understand the law. But indebtedness is indebtedness. The whole idea is that someone who is not considered as an independent person, the independent criteria is different. The statutory auditor is per se, on the face of it, is considered as independent. Therefore, this indebted clause applies to it. Whether a member in practice can engage a trademark, no, because that is a separate profession. Chartered accountant practice, board of management, primary, etc., etc. Yes, director simpliciter, because cooperative banks, some certain technical details. So if someone is there and doesn't get involved into day-to-day execution, and that is virtual CFO services, absolutely not, absolutely not. I found cases where on the visiting cards, the chartered accountants are using CFO services. I have also been asked by my clients that some chartered accountant had visited and said that CFO services. I said that just get an engagement offer from him, and then we will see to it that what he is offering. No chartered accountant will give you a letter offering to provide virtual CFO services. Absolutely denied. Absolutely denied. You can't have practice. Either you join as an employee. That's advisable. If you have certificate of practice, then you have to be independent. How you can be CFO? Whether और वैसे तो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट घर के अंदर लोगों के मैंने देखा शादियां भी करवाते but you can't claim whether a member in practice firm of CA firm can register themselves as GM portal. Yes, तो करना पड़ेगा. गवर्नमेंट के केस में तो करना ही पड़ेगा. The second last slide. when the members in practice are allowed to run podcast, देखिए again that depends case to case. Podcast अगर आप as it is your side hobby, not income earning habit, then it is allowed. But if you do it in firm name, wherein the employees of the firm state their names within the podcast, या आपको substance, form and substance. इन सब्सटेंस आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि ये फर्म का एडवर्टाइजमेंट है. एक कोई पिक्चर रिलीज हो रही है, उस पिक्चर की रिलीज में स्टार्टिंग में क्रेडिट्स आते हैं, उस क्रेडिट में सीए फर्म का नाम हो रहा है. दैट इज नॉट ऑब्जेक्शनेबल, बिकॉज वो इतने सारे नाम के अंदर एक नाम वो भी आ रहा है, तो दे वांट टू गिव ग्रेटिट्यूड, दैट इज अलाउड. बट वो प्रीडोमिनेंटली आ रहा है, अलग अलग जगह आ रहा है, और वो फिल्म के अंदर सीन आ रहा है कि वो चार्टर्ड अकाउंट फलाना चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट फर्म के अंदर जा रहा है, अंदर की पूरी डिटेल आ रही है, ये आ रही हो रही, केस टू केस इट विल अमाउंट टू एडवर्टाइजमेंट, नॉट अलाउड. So again, that is case to case. Whether a member in practice take license or as investment advisor, because per se chartered accountant you are allowed, and even registration not required. Refer to SEBI website. But if you go beyond that, then that is a separate profession, and you have to clear some examinations, and you have to enter the discipline, and then you can't practice chartered accountant. You can't say that. Achha, there's a very interesting case. A wife, there was a very famous case. Chartered accountant was practicing, and wife was having a stock exchange ticket. And the matter came to DC. He said, no, I'm not. I'm chartered accountant and practicing. My wife, which is doing. Okay, then the disciplinary committee said, okay, then what are you doing here? You go send to your wife. And then he understood that what the DC is now going to do. Now, wife was there, DC members were there, and you can imagine what must have happened thereafter. So don't try to play with the provisions. Substance is substance, form is form. What services, even there are cases, husband and wife, both are chartered accountant, auditing, and later on got divorced. Now the decided cases of DC sometimes, if you have adequate time, you want to go through, understand the realities of the life, please go through with them. The partners will come, बहुत urgent है सर, अभी साइन कर दो, ये कर दो, वो कर दो, आपने साइन कर दिया, and then partner will sue you कि आपने मेरे से बिना पूछे कर दिया, या मेरे कंसेंट नहीं थी, आप तो उनके साथ मिल गए. In one particular cases, we have personally examined the case of chartered accountant, जहाँ पे इस चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट ने फर्जी कैपिटल इशू कर दी. अरे भाई, ऑथराइज कैपिटल बढ़ाने के लिए फीस लगती है, 50 फॉर्मेलिटीज होती हैं, हर साल की बैलेंस शीट डिटेल जाती है. हाउ कैन दे थिंग्स? So there are interesting things, but I will like to save some time. आपकी कोई अगर queries हो, कोई भी हो, so formally I end my presentation here. I'm having some 7, 8, 10 minutes. If there is any query which if technical support, or if the peer review, you can raise your hands, or I can stop sharing the presentation, and we can make it more interactive. If there are any queries, you can raise your hand, or Sanjay ji.
Yeah, Vivek ji, if you have any
मैंने
questions in chat box, now we have around 5 minutes remaining, 7 minutes remaining. So we can take up. If not, just give me a sign, any message, okay? But otherwise, sir, you covered everything in perfect span of time.
Thank you, sir. Rather, I would say, in the words of my boss, H.M. Singhvi sir, was I think, whose membership number was some 2000 or something. So old senior chartered accountant. He said that every time you get an opportunity from ICI, our alma mater, to be part of the faculty in whatever platform, it is an obligation of alma mater on you. You have obliged me to study, because ultimately ज्ञान तो ऐसा सर बांटने से बढ़ता है.
सच्ची
आप जो बांटेंगे वो बढ़ेगा.
absolutely correct. And In our life, every year, every day, something new is coming up.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So there is one question.
Yes.
We applied before the peer review board of ICAI seeking peer review of our small firm having registration. So until date, no response. Sir, with due respect to you, sir, this is some administration issue, and
Yes.
definitely this query will be taken up to the peer review board. But the answer to this query is not possible in this webinar, sir. This is administrative issue. If anything about the code of ethics and the revised code of ethics, amended code of ethics, please come forward. We are ready to answer your queries, sir. Can CA takes fees on turnover on sale percentage wise? Sale 1 crore, then fees is 1%, 1 crore is 1 lakh. Sir,
The percentage of profit is denied, but still I would say that because anything linked to percentage is not allowed.
I think there are some exception under section 192. There are
Yeah,
5 to 6
valuation. Yeah, yeah.
cases are properly mentioned there where valuation and project financing, there they are permitted, but not on turnover basis.
Yeah.
There are
The
case law
whole idea, is independence.
independence. I'll request all members that on our website also there are regular updates of the decisions of the ESB board, and actually those cases guides us very well, because a complete commentary, recital, and preamble of the case is also mentioned there, and decision also mentioned there. So that will be a good opportunity for our members to learn the recent trends happening around our practice area. So, sir,
So
I think we can conclude now.
Sanjay ji,
Yeah,
I mean, just one appeal I would like to make, because if the queries are coming, then most welcome. But there is one appeal I would like to make on behalf of sir, the Jaipur Fort is the soft power of India. Jaipur Port, in last 50 years, we have not charged even a single paisa from any of the 25 lakh plus beneficiaries. And it has created a goodwill among more than 50 countries of the world. एंड अफगानिस्तान में सर मैं आपको बताऊं, एक वो जो मैंने एक वीडियो शूट किया था, वो इतना वायरल हुआ. आई सेंड यू पर्सनली दैट वीडियो आल्सो. द टोटल व्यूअरशिप वाज मोर देन 1 करोड़. यू जस्ट इमेजिन ए
10
वन
million.
पर्सन जो दो लंगड़, जो सर जिसके पाँव नहीं है, वो सुबह विकलांग की जैसे आ रहा है, वो दौड़ में उसने मुझे हराया. उस दौड़ ने मुझे हराया, जिसने माइक में सबके सामने बोला हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद पाकिस्तान मुर्दाबाद. आई कैन से हियर बिकॉज आई इट इज नॉट ए गवर्नमेंट प्रोग्राम, बट आप देखो कितना उसने इंडिया के लिए गुडविल जनरेट करता है. सो आई विल जस्ट एडवाइस माई members who are watching this webinar, at least donate 1 rupee a day. साल में 365 दिन होते हैं. आपका दिन शुरुआत जो होनी चाहिए कुछ देने से होनी चाहिए. किसी को दुआ
Absolutely.
देके जिन चालू करिए, कुछ भी चालू करिए, एंड यू विल फील द डिफरेंस इन योर लाइफ.
Perfectly.
एंड माय मेंटर डीआर मेहता साहब, फॉरवर्ड ने उनके लिए लिखा है द बिगेस्ट बेगर ऑफ इंडिया. बिगेस्ट बेगर ऑफ इंडिया. एंड एनुअल एक्सपेंडिचर इज टू द ट्यून ऑफ सम 60 करोड़ रुपीस. एंड दिस 60 करोड़ रुपीस और हमारा एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्सपेंसेस लेस देन 3%. तो मेरा यही कहने का है सर, ये जितने भी अपने चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स अपन लोग जो आज देख रहे हैं वेबिनार, अगर वो दान देने की आदत डाल लें तो गारंटीड है, मैं मेहता साहब के शब्दों में कहूंगा, तो ये नियम है, देने वाले को लेने वाले से ज्यादा मिलता है, बशर्ते कि वो एजेंडा डोनेशन नहीं. एजेंडा डोनेशन है तो कोई गारंटी नहीं है. और बाकी तो मैं बिकॉज एज ए नेशनल ट्रेजरर वेरेवर मेरा काम फंड रेजिंग का ज्यादा रहता है. सो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू मेक एन अपील to all my fellow members to donate
True,
wherever
sir.
they want.
True,
That's it.
sir.
Thank you.
Presently,
Allowing me
also,
this
you are
personal
doing
appeal.
a philanthropic job only. You are guiding our members, and this is the without any remuneration, honorarium, just to cater and just to give respect to our alma mater, that Alma Mater has given us so much that giving back to the members is always our dream come true. That whenever possible, try to give it back to the society. And sir, there is one question. The last question I'll take, and we will conclude. Can a CA run YouTube channel related to professional topics? Sir, इसमें मैं कुछ ऐड करना चाहूँगा. Can a CA और a practicing CA दोनों के लिए अलग सिनारियो है. So please guide us, sir.
Practicing chartered accountant can have a YouTube, but the point is that dissemination of information is always permitted. It is the advertisement of उसके अंदर वो अपनी फर्म का नाम ले रहा है, कहीं पीछे बैकग्राउंड में कोई नाम आ रहा है, any whatever way वो एडवर्टाइजमेंट का अगर उसमें कोई स्मेल है, then it is not allowed. बाकी अदरवाइज dissemination of information in any format, not only YouTube, अगर Instagram पे भी डाल रहा है, किसी और पे भी डाल रहा है, तो allowed, no problem.
So in short, advertising and solicitation, we should properly segregate both the activities. Solicitation is not permitted. For advertising, to some extent, it is allowed.
Yes, it has now been permitted.
Yeah. So sir, now we'll come to the conclusion now. 5 o'clock as a bell has rang, and now we are concluding this seminar, and very fruitful seminar, and from the uh, word say go, it is actually a wonderful seminar, wonderful presentation. I'm thankful to the ESB board, ethical standard board also, and peer review board also. Our vice chairman of peer review board is also vice chairman of ESB board. So wonderful idea they come up with, that why not the peer review and ethical standard should be combined and presented to the members. Wonderful idea and wonderfully executed by the Vimal Chopra sir. I'm thankful to Vishnu Kumar Agarwal sir. I'm grateful to him that he gave us opportunity to present before you and show something that is useful to you. I believe that more than 500 members joined the seminar, and definitely they might have got something good for their professional journey. I come to Vimal sir. You covered almost everything, because I also delivered lectures on code of ethics. You covered NOCLAR also. You covered new amendments under new amendments are came out recently, 2026, 13th edition of ESB, ethical code of ethics. That also you covered. And the last part was very, I attached to it, basically practical decisions of ESB. Also you shared with us. And one liner were there, yes or no. That was a wonderful activity you have done. And easily, it is very easily absorbable. So thank you very much, sir, for your devotion of your time, your energy, and your expertise you expressed here. Our members will be grateful to you for knowledge enrichment and insight of your you provide the insight on the topic. Also, we are thankful to the technical team, because without any glitch, this webinar was conducted. Also, Dheeraj ji, who coordinated with all of us for this seminar. So, all from my side, thank you very much. Last but not the least, all the delegates who stuck to the laptop or the media, whatever they had, and these 2 hours were knowledge enriching hours. Thank you very much. We'll see you in next webinar very soon. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vimalji.
Thank you. Thank you once again, Chotri, and
Thank
in absentia, thank you to the torch bearers of both the committees. Thank you.
Thank you.